Hi, this is Matthew Robert Payne. I'm the writer of 215 non-fiction Christian books and the creator of 6,100 videos available on this channel that you're on. I've got a co-author that I've written about 70 books with called Tolu Sarah Johnson, and today I'm going to read a small chapter of one of her books. The book is called How You Come to Me, and the title of the book is called The Father's Analogies. Um, I'm going to put a link to the book in the description tag below this video, so you can go and have a look at the book. The book will be the Australian link for the book, but when you go and look at the book title, you can type the title into the country that you're in. So this video is called The Father's Secrets, and I hope that you enjoy what I have to say. So me and Tolu Sarah Johnson have been doing interviews with God for 2.5 years, nearly every day, probably about an average of 4 days a week. For the last 2.5 years, we've been doing hour-long interviews with God. Tolu has been coming up with questions, and God has spoken through me and answered the question. Tolu, over the course of the 2.5 years, has asked about 2,000 to 3,000 questions. A fair way into the interviews, Tolu says that she learns best through analogies. Like, analogies is her favourite way of learning. And when I heard that as the vessel that God was using, I allowed God to start to answer the questions and use analogies in the answers, because I knew they were a powerful way to connect and communicate with Tolu. So Tolu started last week to compile a number of books that spoke about the analogies, that quoted the analogies and gave a description of the analogies that God has been using. I found in my Christian life there's been very few books that I've read that I couldn't read the whole book in one sitting. Most books haven't got enough anointing, aren't as rich and deep and profound as other books, and there's very few books that I can't just sit down and read in one sitting. I found this book of analogies is so deep, it's so profound that I can't read one of these books in one sitting. So this this analogy that I'm going to share shares a deep secret, a deep truth about God's kingdom, and I'm going to read it as it is in the book. It's called Analogy 17, The Attorney's Privilege, Sacred Confidentiality, Trusted Access, Mature Intimacy. Point number one, the analogy. Knowing my secrets is like holding attorney's privilege. What I share in confidence is not meant for public discussion. Point number two, the picture, God making the analogy visible. Picture a powerful figure late at night. The public has gone home. The cameras are off. The speeches are finished. One person remains. Not a journalist, not a fan, not a crowd, an eternity. The door closes, the conversation lowers, the tone changes. What is shared here is not rehearsed, not polished, not meant to be repeated. Fears are spoken, concerns are voiced, unfinished thoughts are allowed to breathe. The attorney does not interrupt, does not leak, does not perform. They listen, they hold the weight, they keep what is sacred, sacred. Point number 3, God's heart, why I gave you this picture. This is how intimacy with me works. This is God speaking. This is how intimacy with me works. I'm a father to all, but I do not share everything with everyone. Some truths are heavy, some emotions are tender, some thoughts are private. I look for hearts that are safe, not curious hearts, not ambitious hearts, but trustworthy ones. When I speak of my grief, my frustration, my disappointment, it is not for spectacle, it's not for communion. Many want revelation, few can hold confidentiality. I don't speak to impress, I speak to connect. What I whisper to my friends is not meant for platforms, that is, but for relationship. When you guard what I entrust to you, you show me that I can trust you with more of my heart. Point number 4, the invitation. You do not need to repeat everything I say. You do not need to explain me to others. Just stay close. Listen well. Hold what I share with care. There are things I only say to those who know how to keep me company. I've learned through close to 400 interviews that God is hard to approach. It's very hard to become a friend of. There's not a lot of people in heaven that are particularly close to him. When we started speaking to him 2.5 years ago and interviewing him, he only had 100 friends in heaven. And considering there'd be over 1 billion people in heaven, my co-author Tolu found that very surprising, and she asked how that could be possible. And God answered, Donald Trump has less than 20 or 30 friends on earth, and there's 7 billion people on earth. So just like Donald Trump, I have few friends, and Elon Musk would only have 20 or so close friends, and there's 7 billion people on earth. So it's very possible for me to have few friends. Since we've been interviewing God in heaven, that we do daily on my YouTube channel, the latest conversation playlist is called The Restoration of All Things. Since we've been interviewing him, heaven has gone into revival. The whole of heaven hears the interviews and sits down for the interviews as part of the culture of heaven to listen to these interviews. And as God has sat down and opened up his heart, that Tolu, who asks the questions, who formulates the questions with the help of an angel, as she's asked the 2,000 to 3,000 questions that have been asked, she's operated like a therapist, and God has poured his heart out, and heaven has erupted and come into a revival, and God has a whole lot more friends. But the truth of the matter is that if you truly know God, you'll know that he gets very angry and he's very depressed with the state of the world and the state of the Christian church, and how the Christian church basically just teaches false teaching and doesn't lead people to obey Jesus. They teach people how to conform to religion, but they don't teach people what Jesus taught, and they don't share with people how to obey what Jesus taught. So they don't teach the true gospel. It's a big money-making scheme, and so many people who identify as Christians are rude and obnoxious and condescending and judgmental, and they lack love. God, when you know Him, has secrets, and He has mysteries and profound things that He has to say, but He keeps those things close to His chest, just like the analogy said. So it's my prayer that each of you are listening may one day become a close friend of God's and be a party to the mysteries. And it's my prayer that you enjoyed this video. And if you enjoyed this video and you listened to the end, I encourage you to like the video, comment on the video, and perhaps you could even share the video with your friends. God bless.